right? But all we knew of him was he said he repaired stuff in the military. Shortly before
As you do.
shortly before he passed away, he revealed that he worked on the Manhattan Project.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
everything about him made so much more sense after that, and you can
I
kind
just
of
heard
see
that. Wow.
My wife came running back up.
Wow.
And now if you look at the picture again, you can kind of see it in his eyes, like he never recovered from what ended up becoming of the Manhattan Project, and we never understood it, because I never understood it, because like he was always very nice but also quiet, like you could always see he was thinking, but I just thought like thinking, like, you know, like he was, you know, like just doing stuff like that, but he
What
was
have I unleashed on the world?
exactly. And like when I, like my mom said the Manhattan Project, I was like, oh, okay, like she was saying it like, yeah, he said that, and like she didn't know exactly what it was, and I was like, no, like that,
Like, he forever changed the face of existence on Earth.
right, and is uncredited too, which like I kind of am happy he is, because it can be like a smaller secret, because I don't know, for me, because like that is such a big thing, I feel like I would be receiving hate mail as family members of a person that helped create the atom bomb, you know what I mean? Like, you literally changed the world, and you didn't mean to in the way that you did, because you didn't know what was going to happen. But like, you know what? No, I'm gonna take an actual different approach. Without my grandpa, we would never got Godzilla. Boom. That's just what it is. We wouldn't have got Godzilla, and that's the way I'm gonna look at it, and not think about the sobering fact of what happened to a whole nation. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, dog, that shit. Oh, I've only mentioned it a couple times because a lot of people don't understand what the Manhattan Project is, but I knew you would. Now, like, yeah, I gotta let you know, dog.
You also wouldn't get Gundam without it either, because Gundam is itself a treatise on like the use of arms and power. There's a it's a dark joke.
I now want to keep going with the lore, and I'm like, I'm just gonna start saying random shit like, yeah, my granddad invented it. Okay?
Your look, no, what is it? I forgot like the whole, because I haven't told this joke in so long, because it's like it's one of those like pretty fucked up ones. Like, you ever think that like 2 bombs on Japan wasn't enough? We bombed them once, and it made them like, all right, maybe we want to stop the war. We bombed them twice, now it made them weird. Do you want to see if we bomb them again and it gets them back to normal?
Dog. First off, yeah, I've made that joke too, but also evidently, from what I actually understand, like of more like recent history, we didn't drop just 2 bombs. Like we did a much larger portion of their country.
Oh, so the ones that we talk about when we talk about like the bombings of Japan, like we often talk about like just the nuclear bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No, there was a sustained carpet bombing campaign of the entire Japanese industrial core.
It was carpet bomb.
Yeah, it was conventional bombs, but like what they found.
Like when I found that out, nigga, I was like, did we just like mini?
No. We did not mean it. We did not like, because nukes were still of like, we can't control the yield super well. So it's just like we build. And so the more you know about nukes, the more fun it becomes in a dark way. So the weapon portion of a nuclear device is, in military terms, not often, in like colloquial terms, they do call it a warhead, but when you start talking about the package itself, it's called the physics device, because we're using physics to destroy.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So, your other things, oh my god, what else would I? Oh, but on to like the Japanese thing, is actually kind of dark and interesting because like you'll see it like pop up in other stuff. So like currently one of my favorite shows is That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. And a big part of the first season is you meet, and actually the continuing of the show because it ends up being the main character's face that he takes on. But there's a human girl, and the way sacrifice summons work is like you summon someone that died in often a poor way, and like the way they die takes on attributes of how they live their lives. So there was this girl died during World War II during the fire bombings of Yokohama. So in the war, when America really started, because by the time America was attacking the mainland of Japan, the war in Europe was coming to an end. So what they had been doing was they'd been splitting supply lines between America and Europe. So they were sending over basically like these heavy, basically bombs that are meant to break concrete and like destroy stone buildings. They're finding in the after action reports that those bombs weren't having as much of effect on their targets as they wanted to. Because like a bomb that's meant to create a strong concussive wave honestly doesn't generate as much heat because like heat is wasted. When you're designing an explosion, you're balancing between heat, concussive force, and shrapnel a lot of the time. And increasing one reduces the other. So the type of explosive that is really hot doesn't have as much concussive force behind it. Well, the concussive force blast weren't having as much of an effect because Japanese homes were being built to resist earthquakes and were made largely of wood, so they would shake but not fall. So what did the Allies do? We switched to firebombing.
Jesus Christ.
So we would carpet bomb areas and it's like that. It was the other difference in between like the European theater and the Japanese theater. The way Japan managed a lot of their resources during the war was cottage industry. So they disseminated the development of like their arms and textiles to people's homes. So there are no factories for us to hit. So if we want to hit the industrial center, we bomb the city. Whereas in like the European theater, cities would get in terms of like the Allies attacking like Germany and stuff like that, they would aim for factories, and the cities would be hit because the factories are in the middle of the city. In Japan, we just firebomb the city because we need to take out the industrial base. So this all comes up again because like in the anime's first episode, you see the firebombing of Yokohama, and like this girl that ends up being a main plot point of basically the rest of the show gets killed in the firebombing, and they reincarnate her, and she's like, it's so hot, I don't know how I'm gonna live, because she comes like back injured, and they fuse this fire spirit of freight to her because she has affinity for fire. Yeah. But it's interesting how it like shows up in different places as well. But yeah, no, that was the evolution of Allied air raid strategy once they started attacking the Japanese homeland. Yes, I am also talking about slime. Yeah, like when they say like, yeah, we bombed a lot of Japan. Like we firebombed Tokyo. Like like the reason that Japan had such a strong industrial revitalization after the war was we burned the country to the ground. And like there's a back and forth about like whether or not like the nuclear bombings were necessary by the end of the war, because they say like, oh, Japan was ready to surrender, but like it was coming down to the decision between, do we do I can't remember if it's X-Day or Operation X, which was the million-plus invasion of the Japanese homeland, or do we drop the bombs and try to prevent ourselves from invading Japanese homeland? And the other part of that is, if we invade the homeland, they're expecting the Russians to also invade, and then there would have to be a power sharing agreement in Japan similar to that in Europe. And the Allies at the time were already side-eyeing the fuck out of Russia, like, nah, this shit ain't about to fly. And that is my report on World War II and the development of military strategy.